Welcome to all of you. This is my first session for YouTube, and from today onward I will be making videos for those aspirants who are preparing for UPSC exams with history optional. I have decided that the complete course of the history optional I will be uploading on YouTube. I think this task would be completed within 4 or 5 months. Daily I will be uploading my videos. However, after that I will be taking classes on YouTube directly. Presently I am associated with Takshila School of Civil Services, myself Dr Anshul Bajpai. I am PhD from Banaras Hindu University and had wide experience of teaching in universities as well as for the UPSC aspirants. Anyway, today I am going to talk about the history optional. Let me tell you first that how far the history optional is relevant for the UPSC. One important thing is that its nature, its static nature makes it very relevant subject for the optional. Once you prepare this subject, however it will take time because the syllabus of history optional is vast, but still it can be completed within 4 or 5 months. Once you prepared for 6-7 years, there would not be any changes in this subject. So the static nature of this subject makes this subject very interesting, relevant and evergreen subject among all other optionals. Second thing, the question of the map, question related to the map asked in optional paper 1 makes this optional scoring also. There are 20 sites which you have to identify on your booklet. You have to note down the name and you have to explain within 2-3 lines about that particular sites. Out of these 20, if you correct 17-18 sites, however you can correct all 20 also, because this question is the easiest question one if you prepare systematically. So you can get maximum marks in minimum time period in question number 1 of optional paper 1. Out of 50 you can easily get 38, 39, 40, even more than 40 also. And remember that you cannot get more than 33 marks or 34 marks in any questions of any optional paper. This is the additional benefit of history optional. So those students who thinks that history optional is low scoring subject, they are incorrect in fact. In fact, in history optional, in paper 1, if you solve 3 questions from ancient Indian history section A, you can get easily almost 150 marks in paper 1. If you solve all these 20 sites. Similarly, in paper 2, world history is a scoring subject. So overall, almost 300 marks can be obtained in this subject. So first point I told you about the static nature of this subject. Second point I told you how it is the scoring subject. And third point I am going to tell you about the nature of the questions. Generally, students think that there are so many incidents happened in history, there are so many contradictory views of the historians, there are so many dates in history, therefore it is very difficult to memorize all the dates, all the incidents in sequence, and even it is very difficult to coordinate between the different views of the different historians. But these type of things are just a myth. Let me tell you very clearly that history is not all about the facts. Once you understand the things properly, once you know about the incident properly and you are able to analyze the incident, I am definitely sure that you will never forget any fact, and no need to memorize the dates and these type of things. You must know how to analyze the things, you must know how to interrelate the things, and if you read history in interrelated way, there would not be any requirement of the memorization of the fact. So this is worthless to say that because of the so many facts and incidents, history is very difficult to memorize. In fact, these type of things are rumored by only those people who do not know about the history and who thinks that history is just the subject of the facts, subject of the collection of the incidents. It is not all about that. Let me tell you one thing. If you know the history, you can predict about the future also. You can make the equation for the future also. And in entire world, history is being thought as one of the most important subjects. Even it is being taught in engineering colleges, in other scientific institutions. Since I have been the professor in foreign universities also, that's why I know the significance of this subject very much. And present time, our government is also emphasizing on history. Therefore, the questions asked in GS paper are of high standard. You can say the questions asked in GS paper 1 are not very easy to solve by non-history background non-history background students, aspirants. So if you want to solve 70-80% questions of history in GS, definitely you have to prepare the subject in deep, and you have to prepare approximately 80% subjects of subject as the student of history optional study. Once again I am repeating these things. If you want to solve 80-90% questions of GS1, you have to read 80% history, 80% of history optional. Means only those students who are of history optional, they can solve all the questions of the GS history. Or those students who are thinking for solving all the questions of the GS history, they have to read about 80% of history optional. So only 20% remaining. So once you studied GS history and you have not decided about any other optionals, then as per my suggestion, history optional would be better bit for you, because you have already prepared 80% of optional during your preparation of GS. Is it correct? Second thing. So it means I want to say that the history optional plays an important role in GS also. In GS paper 1, almost the questions of 100 marks are asked from this paper. And even if you want to explain or if you want to understand the concept of IR, international relations, without knowing the world history, it's very difficult to understand. So it plays an important role for understanding international relations also. And once you have good command on world history, your mind would be automatically sharp and you would be able to interrelate the things. You would be able to understand the condition of India. You will be able to compare the India with other countries. Means once you study the world history, it will help in GS paper 2 as well as in ethics paper also. So these are the important points because of which student may opt history optional. Remember that the rumors spread about the history optionals are completely myth. The main rumor that it is not scoring, it is extremely vast, it is, very boring subject. Let me tell you, it is not also a boring subject. It is a good subject, evergreen subject, as well as high scoring subject. And even the students of non-humanities background, student of scientific background, they can also prepare this subject. And you have to prepare this subject. If you want to perform very well in GS, 80% of history optional you have to read. Otherwise, you will not be able to solve all the questions of GS history. Anyway, the agenda of today's video is that I want to tell you the strategy of the history optional, how you should prepare the history optional, how you should make the notes for history optional. So there are in fact two papers of history optional. Paper 1, there are two sections, ancient India and medieval India, and in paper 2, modern India and world history, modern world. These are the four sections, the two papers having four sections. See, for getting more marks in any optional, you should have some specific strategy. Strategy means, I am not going to tell you something special. Strategy means you should maintain the uniqueness in your study. You should maintain the uniqueness in your representation during exam. You should maintain the uniqueness in answer writing. How you can maintain the uniqueness? If you prepare those topics which are generally left, which are being generally left by the students, coaching institutions, teachers, definitely you can get good marks in those topics. If the questions are asked from those topics which are generally being left by the students, definitely you can get good marks if you solve those questions, and then your uniqueness would be also maintained. Anyway, generally students solve two questions from ancient history and three questions from medieval history. But I suggest you to solve three questions from ancient history and two from medieval. The first question of ancient history would be related with the map. Here you have to identify 20 sites, archaeological sites. And let me tell you, this is the easiest portion to prepare. There are almost 250 sites, maximum 300 sites. If you prepare these 300 sites, all 20 questions you will get from that. And I have a list of these 300 sites. And it can be prepared within 3, 4, 5 days, not more than that. So you can prepare the 50 mark question within 5 days in history option. In any other subject, you cannot prepare the 50 mark question within 5 days, but in history you can do it. However, I will not tell you that you have to memorize all these 300 sites. Approximately out of 300, 250 sites will be the 250 sites will be very well known for you, because these sites you will be taught during the teaching of ancient history. Suppose you are learning about the Stone Age, so many sites will be taught to you. You are studying about the Buddhist period, many sites would be shown to you. If you are studying Indus Valley civilization, so many sites would be shown to you. So during the preparation of ancient Indian history, approximately 250 sites you will automatically prepare, and remaining 50 sites you can memorize. So if you solve the first question of map, it will pave the way for 300 marks in history optional. And second question, it will be from general ancient history, means it will be related either from the condition of the women or from the scientific development in ancient India, or from the changing nature of the trade and commerce in ancient India, or from the Sreni system. These type of questions may be asked. Means changing nature of the ancient Indian elements, ancient Indian history. Means it can be asked that discuss the changing nature of the administrative system in ancient India. So you have to discuss it. And third question you can solve related to those topics which are generally being left by the students. For example, feudalism. Feudalism is generally being left by the students, and the students are not able to compare with Indian feudalism, compare Indian feudalism with European feudalism, how the feudal system evolved and how far the feudal system disintegrated the Indian monarchs, and how far the Indian feudal system strengthened the Indian monarch. So these type of questions, these type of topics you can prepare. Second, generally students leave the topics of Ashokan's policy of Dhamma, leave the topics, the effort of monarchs to strengthen their states on psychological ground, on emotional ground. The name of Ashoka can be taken in this regard. The concept of Dhamma was a psychological tool through which he tried to unite the entire India. He tried to strengthen his state. So these type of concepts, if you prepare very well, definitely you can get good marks in history optional. And you cannot solve more than 4 questions, more than 3 questions in paper 1. What type of books, how many books you have to read? So for ancient India, you can study only one book, that is the book of Upinder Singh. However, this book is very difficult to understand, and without the help of your seniors, your teachers, you cannot understand. And you may think that this book is a very vast book and it is very difficult to complete this book within given time period. But once you take classes of any coaching institutes, once you see my videos regularly posted on YouTube, once you join the YouTube classes or live classes or offline classes, whatever, this book would be very easy to understand. And once you study this book properly, I assure you that no question would be left in history optional. And even you can write in very unique way in exam, and you can get maximum marks in ancient Indian history only after the study of one book. Everybody knows about this book, but it's very difficult to understand this book. Because Upinder Singh, she was a good scholar, even she is a good scholar, and she is daughter of the ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. So you can imagine, you can think about the intellectual level of Upinder Singh. And remember that for history optional, you should not read any unauthentic books. Once again I am repeating this word. You should not read any unauthentic. Unauthentic means those books which are authored by ex-civil servant, which are authored by any UPSC aspirant or any UPSC teacher. Authentic book means the person who had worked in history, means you should read the books authored by renowned professor, renowned scholar in that particular field. Then you can understand the analytical skill of that scholar. For example, for GS, you can read R.S. Sharma. Here you can also read R.S. Sharma. But in R.S. Sharma's Ancient India's Past, the things are given in very summarized way, and it would be beneficial for history GS, not for the history optional. However, R.S. Sharma had been a big scholar and he authored so many texts. But for history optional, I suggest you the book of Upinder Singh only. No need to read any other book. If you are new and you never studied history, and history had not been your background also, and even you didn't prepare for GS also, then you can go through the NCERT book. But once you have prepared GS history, once you have studied the history at graduation level, then no need to read NCERTs. NCERTs are useful only for those students who are starting their preparation. Correct? However, I have written here, so only one book you can use. For the medieval history, what type of questions are asked? Let me tell you. The first question, there would be 5 short notes, each of 10 marks, and it would be compulsory question. And the first question will be asked from generally Sultanate period, from where early medieval period, Vijayanagar Empire, Maratha or Sultanate administration, or Sufi and Bhakti. So these topics, if you prepare, you can solve all the portion of question number 5. This is the 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of it, you have to solve 5 questions, 3 from section A and 2 from section B. If you prepare the selective topics in medieval history, easily you can solve 2 questions. Even you can get all the 4s, but in unique way you can solve 2 questions. Let me tell you the selective topics. Tripartite War, first topic. Penetration of the Muslims, second topic. And in Sultanate period, you can prepare only 2-3 kings. First, about the Iltutmish, Iqta of the Iltutmish, Zajia, short notes, Khalji revolution, administrative reforms and expeditions of Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Only within these topics you can get 1 short notes. Sufi Bhakti you have to read completely. And in Vijayanagar, you have to read about the administration of the Vijayanagar, and you have to compare the administration of Vijayanagar with the traditional administration and the administration of Vijayanagar with Sultanate period administration. You should have the crystal clear knowledge of the administrative structure of the Sultanate period. Crystal clear knowledge. Every dimensions of the administrative system must be cleared in your mind. Then you can write the appropriate answer in exam. And generally, for the aspirants, it is not very easy to understand the administrative structure of the Sultanate and Mughal period both. Because in book, so many complexity is given related to administrative structure. In the book of the Satish Chandra, you can understand the administrative structure in better way, but still it is not sufficient. And the question related with administrative structure would be asked in exam. In Mughal period, you should prepare only administrative structure as well as religious policies, Rajput policies, and foreign policies, Central Asian policies of Mughal kings. If you prepare these topics, you can easily solve all these two questions. If you solve in this way, in paper 1, roughly you can get 145 plus marks easily, provided you should solve the question number 1 and question number 5 very well. And for the modern history, this is the modern history, paper 2, section A. Again, I am suggesting you to solve only 2 questions from the modern history, not all. 3 questions from modern history, because it will maintain your uniqueness. Generally, student would be very habitual with modern history, and they will be willing to write all the questions from modern history, because the modern history is common for all, and every student prepare for GS purpose. So every students are good in modern history. So every student want to write 3 questions from modern history, and if maximum people will write 3 questions from modern history, definitely examiner will not give the good marks to all. So you should prefer to write 3 questions from world history, not from modern history. For the preparation of the modern history, you can prepare the penetration of Europeans and how Europeans consolidated their rule in India, this section. And second section, strategy and tools of the Gandhiji and Gandhian movement. 3 movements before 1920s, 3 movements after 1920s, and the strategies opted in Africa. If you prepare only these topics, you will be able to write 2 questions. Correct? For the world history, for the modern history, I recommend 2 books. One, Freedom Struggle of Bipin Chandra, Freedom Struggle of Bipin Chandra, Freedom Struggle of Bipin Chandra, and Shekhar Bandyopadhyay, Plassy to Partition. And for post-independent, you can prefer the Bipin Chandra, India's after independence. However, this is very vast book, but very interesting book. You can read the things, you can understand the concept, and it would be beneficial for the preparation of the internal security, for the preparation of the Indian society also. So however, the language and everything is very easy, very interesting. So you can go through the book of Bipin Chandra, 2 books of the Bipin Chandra. One, Freedom Struggle, and second, India after independence. For the world history, you can read only this book, Jain and Mathur. But remember that, however, this book covers entire syllabus of the world history, but this is the vast book, and the level of interpretation is okay, and generally students study this book. Therefore, you can use some other books. Actually, I used to teach with 4-5 books of world history. Since I have worked in very many foreign countries, and there I used to, there I taught only world history, so I have good content of the world history, which I will be teaching in class. So if you make the notes properly, I will not provide you the handwritten notes, I will be dictating you. So if you make the notes properly, definitely in world history you can do better. And once your concepts are clear related to world history, I assure you, you can do well in GS paper 2, you can do well in world history, in essay also, and even in ethics also. So many thinkers I will be teaching you during the teaching of the world history. James Mill, Elphinstone, Bentham, Kant, Rousseau, all those scholars would be taught to you. So if you prepare in this way, you can get good marks in history. So the approach which you should opt for the world history, you can divide the world history in 3-4 sections. First section, Renaissance and revolutions. In second section, colonizations and nation states. And third section, decolonization and modern world. If you divide the world history in this section, any 2 sections you should prepare very well. You can solve all these 3. One question will be asked from, more than one question will be asked from one section. Correct? Renaissance and revolutions, all the revolutions, French Revolution, Russian Revolution, Chinese Revolution, and American Revolution, and Civil War in America. If you prepare this one, 1-2 question will be asked. If you prepare colonization and nation state, unification of Italy, unification of Germany, revolution and counter revolution during 1848, colonization in Africa, colonization in China, colonization in India, colonization in South America, you can prepare, 1 question will be asked. And decolonization in Africa, decolonization in Asia, Arab nationalism, correct? Decolonization in Southeast Asia, formation of new worlds, disintegration of USSR, Cold War, globalization, formation of European Union and other organizations just such as United Nations organization. If you prepare these miscellaneous topics, you can cover 1 more question. And from the decolonization, definitely 1 question will be asked in optional as well as in GS also. And generally students, they are not able to write the questions related to world history in GS. So it will be edge for you if you prepare the world history very well during the preparation of history option. One suggestion I would like to share with you, if you are going to appear in UPSC exam by 2025, then you have to complete your optional before 28th February or before even 31st January. and history optional will take almost 4.5 months. 4.5 months means September, October, November, December, January. Maximum you should start, lately you should start by 15 September and you should complete it before 31st January. If you prepare your optional, if you completed your optional in January, then there would be 3-4 months for the revision of preparation of the revision of the prelims. And if you will be exclusively preparing for the prelims for 3-4 months, 4 months, more than 4 months, definitely you can crack prelims. And within 2 months, you will be revising history optional. And let me tell you one more thing. If you prepare the history optional thoroughly, before the January, I assure you it can be revised within 100 hours, means not more than 25 days. And even I will be assisting you in this regard. Once you prepared this subject thoroughly, I will be assisting you to revise, and in this revision you can make the notes in the form of flow charts completely, and then you can revise entire syllabus in multiple times with the help of this flow chart. So finally, I thanks all of you. If you are interested to watch this video, you can share it, you can subscribe it, and even daily you will be finding these type of video. And after 3-4 days, by the 1st August, I will be starting history optional, live class of history optional, live on YouTube. Correct? August, September, October, November, it will be completed before 31st December. Okay? So, if you are having any question, you can drop out a message in comment box. Thank you very much. All the best.